Yo guys, what is going on? Welcome back to the FIFA Flow podcast. Today, guys, we got I wouldn't say the longest episode. It is kind of gonna be an average episode, maybe around 40 minutes, especially since I am also trying to record this before my football training in about an hour and 15 minutes. So yeah, it is kind of I wouldn't say a rush of a podcast, but it's gonna be a shorter than usual podcast. Guys, today we got a lot to talk about. Mainly, I think we're going to be regarding with the Premier League. I want to talk about three specific clubs regarding Chelsea, Manchester United, and Arsenal, of course. We're still going to take a look at Paris Saint-Germain. We're going to take a bit of a look at the La Liga. Guys, to be honest, I haven't really been, I don't really watch the La Liga as much anymore. I think the main reason is probably just not enough time, not interest either. And another thing is, I don't know, with the Premier League and the Ligue 1, of course, I have Football TV. They're both on Football TV. Same with the Serie A. So I could be talking about the Serie A if I wanted. Talk about like Juventus and stuff. Um, but yeah, I'll try to talk. I think I need to start watching more La Liga for sure. Real Madrid, Barcelona. But yeah, guys. Mainly it's gonna be Premier League and Ligue 1. But this is a football podcast. It should be more general football. So hopefully we can get more leagues onto the podcast, guys. We'll also have some football news, some transfer rumors I want to talk about. Um, and then yeah, that's just pretty much it. Just the usual. Let's get right into it, guys. Starting off with the Premier League. Let's head right into the Premier League. So which one is this? Thursday, January 9th or 19th. So yeah, of course, Erling Haaland, Man City versus Spurs. Pretty, yeah, man. I don't know what's really wrong with Spurs. Yeah, I really don't know what's wrong with Spurs. I mean, it's just not there for them. It's just not there, and for that reason, that is why Antonio Conte is wanting to leave the club, and Spurs are interested in possible signing of Lazio manager Mario Sarri. So yeah, as I said, it's not Conte. There's nothing wrong with Antonio Conte. I think he's a great manager. Of course, we saw that last season when he came in the winter January transfer window, I believe. Yeah, back in the winter, and then he came in. He really helped like with Kane with Spurs get that connection, that strong connection with Kane, that strong relationship with the players. But this year it's just not connecting for these Spurs players, and for that reason, Spurs have just not been it. They don't have that spark they did like back in when was it 2019 final against Madrid. They made it to the UCL final. The Deli Ali and stuff. You know all those crazy players, Son, Harry Kane. Um, Back in the days, you got what is his name? Vertonghen, and who's the other guy? Is it Vertonghen? And who the two Belgium Alright, let's just take a look. Vertonghen and Alderweireld. Yeah, the two center backs at Spurs dominating and stuff. Those are the days, man. But now, like Spurs, it's just not kicking for them. And I think a huge reason. I don't think it's just Spurs. I think Spurs is. I think the players, the club itself, is a problem. But I think it's not just them. I think it's all the teams. And as I said, we're going through a bit of a phase right now. I think it's kind of getting to the end, hopefully at least. But man, oh man, there is so many games. There's so much pressure on these players. You had league games starting in early September or early August. I mean, that's how early the game started in early August. Only 1 month break, or one and a half, one and a bit month break. You had league games starting in early August. Yet the World Cup in the middle of the season, they have to stop the league, World Cup, and only 1 week, even less than a week after the World Cup ends, players have to go right back in playing to the clubs. It's just too much pressure, and that's why teams like Spurs, like we saw this with Madrid losing to Villarreal, with PSG. I mean, PSG kind of had this problem before. We're gonna talk about them in a moment, like later on in the podcast. But you have this all this pressure, all these game time, this playing time. these players don't get any rest, and this is the problem with having the World Cup every 2 years, every 3 years. I think the World Cup is a different scenario. I think yes, it's more games, but on top of that, it doesn't feel special. I think that's the reason not many people want it every 2 years instead of every 4 years. It's not the game time. It's not just the game time for the players, but also the specialty of having it every 4 years and winning it as well. Because like maybe a player like Pele, he could have won way more World Cups if it was every 2 year. So it wouldn't be that the glory of every 4 year. It'd be like every 2 year, or the player has more of a chance to win the World Cup than every 4 year. You get what I mean? So I think the specialty, I think the game time, that's the World Cup. But like if you add more tournaments, like they already have the Copa America, the Euros, and then you got the Nations League stuff. You got friendly matches as well. Like some random friendly matches as well. I don't understand what the point of them are. What's the other one? You had the idea of the Super League, which was to make more money, and that's it's not just money. They did propose that, oh, we're gonna have a Super League and still play in the Champions League. I believe so. It was something like that. But all this playing time just it keeps on damaging these players. These players do not have any rest, and that's why we're going in this current phase of players not doing the best. So yes, I think there's a side where Spurs are not in the best form as a team. I think the relationships and stuff. But at the same time, it's that plus all this phase of too much playing time for the player. So I'm gonna keep that in mind, guys. Of course, Erling Haaland killing it. Riyad Mahrez, man, this guy's dribbling. This guy is such an underrated right winger. I have to say, I really do have to say. Yeah, I just remembered talking about like Haaland and Mars as City, Man City specifically. I wanted to talk about Kevin De Bruyne near the end of the podcast. I want to take a look at the FIFA World Cup, or not the FIFA World, the EA Sports FIFA 23 Team of the Year after, and talk a bit about the ratings and stuff. So I know it is FIFA, it is EA, so it is a bit rigged and stuff, but I still want to talk about that. So yeah, crazy game. As I said, Riyad Mahrez, man, this guy's dribbling is outrageous. The cut insides with his left foot, the finesse shots, the beauty, man, literally beauty. And of course, Erling Haaland doing Erling Haaland type things. And then yeah, this week or this weekend, you can say 3 games I want to talk. Actually, no, 2 games I want to talk about. Just gonna take a look at City versus Wolves. First game, guys, Liverpool versus Chelsea, and this was a team I wanted to talk about. The first team, Chelsea, man. This guy, Chelsea. The thing that's so bad with Chelsea, and that's why that is why they're 10th place in the league, is they don't know how to progress forward in the pitch. They only know how to progress backwards, pass the ball backwards, and side to side. I think I do reckon against like a team like Liverpool, it is easier it is easier for Chelsea to look like a better team offensively, because Liverpool is also an offensive team. So it's like their defense won't be the best either. You get what I mean? Like, I reckon if Chelsea were to play a team like Man City, Chelsea would not look like how they did today against Liverpool. You get what I mean? Yeah, as I said, yeah, man. Chelsea, they really don't know. I think with Liverpool, as I said, Liverpool an attacking team as well. So it looks like when Chelsea, it looks like Chelsea have good counterattacks. Whereas it's not a good counterattack. It's just that Liverpool are also an attacking team, so they're very vulnerable to counterattacks as well. So the thing with Chelsea, as I said, pass the pass. But guys, Mudryk, guys, 100 million from Shakhtar Donetsk. Liver or Chelsea, I think 83 plus add-ons. I think it's 100 million euros or an 83 million pounds. I'm pretty sure, something like that, guys. But Arsenal did want to sign him. He got hijacked. I think Mudryk wanted to go to Arsenal as well, but I think he liked Chelsea as well. What was I gonna say? Yeah, guys, Chelsea 100 million or 83 million pounds. You could say this guy, man, Mudryk. What a game he had. I'm gonna be honest. Now, at some times you can say, oh, this is just a player who's playing in the Ukrainian league with Shakhtar. Is it Ukrainian? I think it's the Ukrainian league. I know Mudryk is Ukrainian, but I'm pretty sure Shakhtar Donetsk is also a Ukrainian team. Uh, guys, they're like he's playing in a league. I wouldn't say it's a bad league, but compared to the Premier League, it's bad. It's not like it's not comparable to the Premier League, of course. And he's one of the best players in at that league. So it's very when you're paying 100 million for him to come from that league all of a sudden to this league, to the Premier League for 100 million as well. Like that is a huge risk, man. And we've seen this many times before. Actually, we haven't really seen this many times before. We've seen players like Coutinho, Dembele, Griezmann, and stuff come to Barcelona for 100. Eden Hazard coming to these clubs for 100 million, becoming one of the biggest flops in history. But when you come from a lower, like when you like that's because they like Coutinho, he played for Liverpool, one of the best players at the time. Barcelona signed him straight away, and then he became a flop. But you expected from a team like Liverpool, from a Premier League, 100 million, he should be actually worth that price if he's doing that in the Premier League. With Mudryk doing what he was doing in at Shakhtar Donetsk, it is yes he's something special, but to go all of a sudden for 100 million, same price as Coutinho, to the Premier League, that is like you don't know what to expect because you're coming from a lower to a higher rather than a higher to a lower. You get what I mean? I wouldn't say Liverpool to Barcelona is higher to lower, but I mean La Liga at the time was definitely up there, ties an equal to equal league, Prem to La Liga. For on this case, it's lower to higher. You get what I mean? So going from a lower league to a higher league for 100 million is a much bigger risk than going from a higher league to a lower league. Because when you come from a higher league, if he was to sign, if Donetsk was to sign Mudryk from Chelsea for 100 million instead, then you would say, oh, that's a huge deal because he came from the Premier League, he was a great player, and now coming to this lower league, he's going to dominate in this lower league. But when it's the other way around, you have to really guess. But what I will say, that was a whole rant right there, but a whole rant and a half. But what I will say, guys, is Mudryk, he is something special. At least for the first game that he played, as I said, Liverpool are an attacking team. So on the counter attacks, both teams are vulnerable here. But with Mudryk, I think he still performed really, really well, guys. I cannot wait to see Mudryk and João Felix, man. These two are they're gonna revolutionize this current Chelsea team, guys. Because the way that Mudryk and João Felix play is they play very attacking. They see like, oh, we have to like send these through balls and stuff. And not really through balls, but go up the pitch rather than side to side. There's no point. If you have all this free space on the wing, why are you waiting for the other team to come back in defense and then pass it forward? Pass it forward right away. Make the runs, make the dribbles, make the passes. In João Felix's first game, yes, he got that red card, but before that, his through balls, he can see the vision he had. Same with Mudryk, his dribbling, like Eden Hazard. He is the new Eden Hazard, essentially. Some people are calling him, and I would say as well, he has some really good small dribbles and stuff. Guys, it's actually crazy that Chelsea do not know how to play. These guys have to teach them how to play forward, make these runs. I do think, I mean, Kai Havertz, is he really a good player, man? Like now after Mudryk and João Felix came to Chelsea, man, Money Mount, Payson Mount is out of here, man. He is out of here, man. He is Money Mount, Mickey Mount, you could say, Payson Pound. Kai Havertz, on the other hand, I would prefer Timo Werner over Kai Havertz, I would say, for sure. But on the other hand, like I think there's also better players than Timo Werner as well. You get what I mean? So yes, I think it was fair for Chelsea to sell Timo Werner to back to RB Leipzig to get some money. But I think they had to have gotten another striker for sure. I don't even think Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is the best replacement. I think they need a good finisher, like someone who can like Marcus Thuram. I think if Chelsea can sign Marcus Thuram at striker from Mönchengladbach, I believe he plays for. If they can sign the French striker Marcus Thuram, you got Mudryk in the cam position. João Felix on the right. On the left hand side, you can put Kai Havertz. I think he wouldn't be bad there. Maybe Raheem Sterling. Um, and then in the midfield, you got. I really don't. I think Conte is still injured, but like let's say you put Conte back in there, Jorginho. You put in the two center backs. You put Thiago Silva and Koulibaly. At right back, you have Reece James, and then at left back you have Kukurea. I think that would be a really, really good team, especially in that attack. Thuram, a strong finisher. He's physical. He's kind of like that Lukaku type thing. Um, and then yeah, he's kind of like a Lukaku. He's physical. He's good finishing, better than Lukaku, let's say as well. I don't know why Chelsea signed him for 100 million, loaned him back to Inter Milan. That is the craziest. That is like the stupidest thing I've seen. Same with Pogba to United, man. These transfers, man. Um, so I think Marcus Thuram, he's a better finisher after his World Cup performance. He's generally a good player, genuinely a good player. He's a really good player after what I've seen from the World Cup with France. What is I gonna say? Yeah, so I think yeah, that as I said, Modric and João Felix is really gonna remind me like like Modric, João Felix. It's gonna remind me of that what's it called? Like if you have Thuram, Modric, and João Felix, imagine how similar that would be to Giroud. I know Giroud wasn't the biggest Chelsea player. I think he had a bigger career at Arsenal, but he's still gonna be like that French striker. Modric, as people call him, the new Eden Hazard. So he would be like that Hazard, and then not Oscar. What's his name? What? Who's the other Brazilian guy? Who was the other? Man, I forgot. Was it Oscar? And Oscar is in the Chinese league. I think it starts with the R. Willian. Guys, these three attack. Willian, what's his name? Willian, Eden Hazard, and Giroud. That three trio, like up top, they had some really beautiful moments. As I said, Giroud he didn't have his biggest career at Chelsea. He was better at Arsenal, but still, like I think a trio like Thuram, Mudryk, and João Felix would be brilliant, guys. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about with Chelsea. Man, Chelsea just splurged money. It's really crazy. And talking about splurging money, before we go on to the United versus Arsenal game, crazy game, one of the best games this season. I want to talk about splurging money and how different leagues. So here, let's just get straight to the point. Currently, right now, the English Premier League have spent I think around 436 or 406 million. Let's just say 400 million euros in the current euros, $400 million in the last season, in the 2022/2023 season. They have spent 400 million euros, like the whole Premier League, and I think most of that, I think 200 million of that have came from Chelsea. And then you go, I think the second biggest spending league then goes to the La Liga. I think I want to say I think that goes to around 70 or maybe 30. I think it was 40 or 70 million, between 30 and 70 million. I don't quite remember, was it a 7 or a 3 or whatever. It's just crazy that it cuts almost by how much percent? So like 1/6. So you have the Premier League, and let's say like the next highest league is the La Liga with 50 million. Let's just put at 50 million. About 1/6. They have 6 times more spending in the Premier League. Now, I think that is just crazy, and then you have La Liga, Ligue 1. You have these money people. You have PSG, man, and people call PSG the oil club. Man, they haven't even spent anything like compared to the whole Premier League, compared to Chelsea. Even like a team like Man City, I guess they haven't really spent a lot either. 60 million for Erling Haaland was just a steal and a half, man. Not even a half, a steal and a. I don't know what to say. Same thing with what's his name, with Newcastle, guys. They got 500 billion, I think, 500 or 200 billion, 200 billion oil money club from Saudi Arabia buying them, and they barely bought any players. As well. I mean, like, yeah, they did buy players. I mean, but for the price wise, they barely spent anything to buy players. So I think what you can say here is good. I think it is good strategy by the Premier League. I think after the 1900, I think after the 2000s, the Premier League really saw how football is gonna change. It's gonna become more of a market and investing thing rather than a sport. You get what I mean? It's still a sport. The players still play the sport, but for the owners, it's more like, oh, can we? Is this player really gonna help us win a Champions League and for us to get more money because we won the Champions League? You get what I mean? They see it that way. They don't see it like, oh, this player is good. Let's get into the team so we can win more for our fans. It's not really for the fans. It's more for the club itself to win more trophies to earn money. So I think back in the day that was still a thing, but I think nowadays it's more focused on that, and that was the reason the Super League was a thing, is to get players, to get money, to win trophies, to have a more exciting team and an exciting tournament that more people would draw towards them to get attention there. So I guess it's the same thing now. So they say, oh, let's go sign this guy Mudryk, 100 million. He's a good player as well. Everybody's gonna start getting attention on us. We're gonna get money because of the viewership and all this advertisement, all this stuff coming in because of Mudryk. So it's more of a market, of an investment rather than a sport. You get what I mean? Um, I think another reason why these other lower teams, so I think that's a really good strategy by the Premier League. They saw not just the Premier League, not just the league itself, the clubs in the league. They saw that the future of football is going to be more a a market, an investment. The thing with La Liga, Serie A, Premier, and Ligue 1, yes, there's like the oil money clubs what's his name? Like Paris Saint Germain, of course, my team right there. But I think another problem is inflation, and then you got all this politics stuff. You got the financial fair play, like all this stuff going on. Barcelona, of course, with PSG. So I think another good strategy that Chelsea are doing, like you can see, 400 million spent all around in the Premier League, and it's suddenly to 50 million in La Liga. Keep in mind that 400 million, I think 200 million of that is coming from Chelsea. Keep in mind the reason why Chelsea are not having financial fair play issues is because they've actually signed Mudryk on a 8 year deal. They've blood pacted him. They've got him on a blood signed contract. His life, he signed his life for 8 years at Chelsea, and I think a reason why Chelsea wanted 8 years was because they can like in that 8 years they can pay off Mudryk. So it's not a straight 100 million pay to Shakhtar Donetsk. It's throughout the 8 years they're gonna pay Shakhtar Donetsk bit by bit. You get what I mean? Whereas I think teams like Paris Saint Germain, like Barcelona, yeah, they're in financial fair play because yes, they're spending the same amount, or they did spend the same amount as Chelsea. Went and bought like Neymar and stuff, and uh, they bought like Coutinho, Griezmann. Like they went straight 100 million. They didn't say, oh, can we sign him for 5 years, and throughout the 5 years we will pay you the 100 million for Coutinho. You get what I mean? So that is another reason. As I said, inflation. You got all this politics stuff going on. So it's just crazy with these other leagues. So I think strategy wise and market wise, investment wise, Premier League are doing well in that scenario. I guess in that matter, you could say. I was gonna talk about one more thing regarding this money stuff. I really don't remember, guys. Let's go on to the second game. As I said, one of the craziest games. Arsenal versus Manchester United, and man, what a game this was! I think really, really extraordinary performance by both teams. Now, statistically, it doesn't say. It looks like Arsenal were the stronger team. Shots, 25 shots against 6, 5 shots on target against 4, 58% possession against 42%. Um, I think even that, as I say, stats don't matter. It's about how the game moves, how the game plays out. So I think both teams played really, really good. Guys, Arsenal, man, they're such a good team, and as I said, they really remind me of the O2. Was it O2? I think it was O. Was it O2? Arsenal. or 04. I always forget. It was the 04. I think it was the 04 Invincibles, guys. This team here. The 03-04. You got Thierry Henry. You got Pires. You got you got Pires. You got what's his name? You got Vieira. You got all these crazy players. Like it was a Bergkamp. I think they had Bergkamp as well. Dennis Bergkamp. Yeah, it says over here as well. Trust me, I'm not looking at the list. I'm just remembered like, oh, like they had Bergkamp as well. But you had all these crazy players. This crazy team Arsenal had. And like even now, one loss, which is against Manchester United. That's where Arsenal can never beat United at Old Trafford. Two draws. I think one of them was against City, I want to say. I don't quite. Oh no, okay. So one of them was Southampton, yeah, back in the day, in the very beginning of the year, and then who was the other draw against? What the heck? I thought it was against City, but Southampton. I don't know who the other draw was again. Oh, here, Newcastle. Oh yeah, when they got robbed, man. When they got robbed of the penalty and stuff. Yeah, so yeah, Newcastle and then Southampton, back in the very beginning of the league. They really remind me of the Invincibles. And then man, the way that Arsenal play, you can kind of see it's very similar to Tiki Taka, and of course Mikel Arteta, the Spaniard, actually used to be at Manchester City with Pep Guardiola, and of course Pep Guardiola, the creator of Tiki Taka, probably like taught him a way to play. Like, oh, you should play like fast football and stuff. And the way Arsenal play is very similar to how Pep Guardiola would play, and that's because of Mikel Arteta being like a assistant or like a backup coach, a youth coach with under Pep Guardiola at Man City. So man, Arsenal, the way they play, they pass the ball thoroughly. They find open space. They pass it to the open space. You got like Odegaard in the middle at the camp. He sees like Martinelli or Saka on the sides open and stuff. They pass it, and then like if they're being pressured, they pass it straight back into the midfield to Thomas Partey, who's a brilliant CDM. I think after Casemiro came in, it looked like Casemiro showed the Premier League what a CDM is. But you got to keep in mind, Thomas Partey is still a great. I think he's still one of the top three CDMs at, or like, yeah, the top three CDMs in the Premier League currently. I think it'd have to be Casemiro first. I'd say Bruno Guimaraes second, and then Thomas Partey third, Rodri fourth. Maybe switch Bruno Guimaraes and Rodri, but I think there has to be a debate that Thomas Partey is a top three CDM in the Premier League for sure. And then, like they just play this fast playing like football. It really reminds me of the like the tiki taka, this fast playing Barcelona stuff. So very well played by Arsenal. Of course, guys, Arsenal have also signed Trossard from Brighton, guys. I think for 80 million. I'm pretty sure for 80 million. I don't have it up here in the Twitter, but I wanted to mention that. Going back to the game, guys, let's talk a bit about the game and how it kind of played out, guys. The first goal, of course, starting off with Rashford and what's his name, Bruno Fernandes, guys. A brilliant play. Through ball in by or no, actually it wasn't a through ball. It was actually a very well dribbled run by Marcus Rashford. It goes to Marcus Rashford, who defends it well. There's a nutmeg. I think it was against was it against Saliba or Ben White? I want to say he nutmegs one of them. He's through on goal. Or it could have been Odegaard. Yeah, I think it could have been Odegaard. Dribbles around Saliba and then hits the near post against Aaron Ramsdale. Guys, Aaron Ramsdale, I think it was the first goal here. Aaron Ramsdale is a good keeper. I think but sometimes, man, like he is a bit worrying, like with his hands. I think with his feet as well. I forgot about the game, so I kind of woke up near like the last 10 minutes of the first half. But in the second half, when the ball went back to Aaron Ramsdale, man, this guy takes so much time with the ball on his feet. It looks like he's about to lose the ball, like from the pressure from the United team. So that's the only problem with Ramsdale. But other than that, I think he's a fairly he's a decent keeper for sure. I think for on Arsenal's level, he's a good keeper, but there's definitely better keepers out there for sure. Um, yeah, beautiful opening goal by Marcus Rashford, the nutmeg it, and then like the dribble through past Saliba, and then getting into the back of the net. The second goal, and Nketiah, as I said, I don't quite remember this goal because I didn't watch the highlight for it, and I woke up late as well. I saw the Marcus Rashford goal because it was a beauty, so everyone was posting it, but I did not quite see the first Nketiah goal. Yeah, and then it goes to the second half of the game where Bukayo Saka. Actually, I still did not see this goal either because yeah, even though I did wake up 10 minutes before the game before the second half ended, I was like, when you wake up and you're still tired, like you kind of in this half sleep slash half wake up mode. I was in that state, so then I didn't really see that either. But then after that, I was like, oh man, this must be a crazy game. Let me finally get the time to watch it. I loaded the game, and right away, United respond, making it 2-2 with Lisandro Martinez off of a corner, getting a header. Very, very unlucky. I think it was Gabriel, the Brazilian center back, who actually tried to head it over, but he couldn't jump like fast enough and stuff, and it still went like into the back of the net. So very, very unfortunate there by Gabriel off of the corner. Brilliant by Lisandro Martinez, the Argentine who just won the World Cup as well. Brilliance by him. I think he's a great signing for United. But then, guys, and Nketiah and Trossard as well. He got subbed on in the 80th minute, I believe. Man, he was a really good player. He was a really good player. I think the thing with Trossard is he's really good, agile, dribbling the small touches on the ball. And he was kind of involved with that last play of the game as well. For the last goal as well, he passes it in. I think he passes it back to Martinelli, who then does a cross into Nketiah. No. Actually, no. It was Trossard who it was Xhaka, the Swiss player, the Swiss CDM, the captain, of course. Um, it was Xhaka who passes it to Trossard, who takes some small touches. He waits and waits. He sees Martinelli, who's almost just barely offside. So a bit yeah, he was barely onside, not offside. Barely onside. Martinelli passes it back into the midfield or into the middle of the box. I think it goes to Odegaard, I want to say. And then Odegaard, it almost looks like Nketiah is offside, like his leg from Varane. It looks, or I think it was one Bissaka. It might have been Varane again. Of course, Varane's bunda keeping everyone on side, like in the World Cup as well. In that World Cup, when is it? The World Cup final, I think. But yeah, he was barely onside as well. And Nketiah, who he sticks his leg up, he gets it on his thigh, and then he hits it back in the back of the net against David De Gea. Who De Gea had some really good saves. His reaction, his saves with his feet and stuff are really, really brilliant. But unfortunately, in the 90th minute, just couldn't get it. But yeah, really, really brilliant. I think the last goal was a bit iffy, but yeah, Marcus Rashford, I think he had the goal of the game for sure, in my opinion, based off of what I saw as well. Guys, yeah, unfortunately I did not see the goals, as I said, so I couldn't really talk about it a lot. But what I will say is, gameplay wise, both teams brilliant. I said defensively, I think the way that Arsenal play, I think Arsenal dominated that second half for sure. The way they move the ball around the pitch, they move it. Yes, they move it side to side, but it's still upwards side to side. They do that tiki taka stuff. The thing with Chelsea on the other hand, yes, Chelsea also pass side to side like Arsenal, but they don't play side to side moving forward. They just play side to side moving backwards, actually. So with Chelsea's or with Arsenal, with tiki takas, you move side to side, but at the same time you're moving side to side and moving forward at the same time. You get what I mean? With Chelsea, they only go side to side. They don't know how to go forward. So yeah, that is the brilliant and I think with Arsenal as well, is yes, the reason they go side to side is because they find this open space. They say, oh, it's in the middle to Thomas Partey. We go to the side because Odegaard is there, and then Saka, he makes a run, and then at least they can see those runs and stuff. But the thing with Chelsea is they can't do that stuff. But yeah, as I said, brilliant by not only Arsenal but United as well. So I was very happy to see Arsenal winning that last game in the last minute of the game, because that keeps a 5-point difference against Man City and they still have one game in hand. So hopefully Arsenal can win that one game that they have in hand, make it an 8 point difference. That would be crazy, man. Arsenal, as I said, they really remind me of that, of the what's it called? Of the 04, the 03, 04 Invincibles. Pretty crazy. Now, as I said, I want Arsenal to win, but man, how are Arsenal going to win the league when Erling Haaland is scoring a goal, like 2 goals almost every single game? Guys, it's been 19 games. Erling Haaland has played 19 games in the Premier League, and he scored 25 goals. In the past 4 years, or in the past 4 or 5 years of the Premier League, the highest Golden Boot winner. So, like, the Golden Boot is the highest scorer in that league for that specific season. So, last year, I think it was 23 goals shared between Son and Salah, but Salah ended up winning it because of, I guess, the goals he scored and stuff. I think Son was robbed because he had less penalty goals rather than Salah. But either way, 23 goals in total. I think the highest goal in the last 3 years, or in the last 4 years in the Premier League, was 24 by Harry Kane. And it's halfway through the season, 19 games through the season, and Erling Haaland is already at 25 goals halfway through the season. There's 36 games every season, I believe, 36 or 38. So if Haaland is at 25 already, this guy can go on to score 40 goals, even more, maybe 50 goals. I think highest goals in Prem season is Ronaldo with 31 goals. This guy, 19 games. There's still about 18 games left in the season, and he just needs to score 2 hat tricks, and he's, man, that is crazy. That is actually crazy. This guy's broken, and the fact they also got him for 60 million, and then now another fact is the fact that Arsenal can somehow win the league with City having this type of player is crazy, guys. But yeah, that was like most of the. I did say the podcast is gonna be about 40 minutes, and it's like most of the 40 minutes have been about the Premier League. I mean, yeah, man, there's a lot going on there. La Liga, we might just skip La Liga because not much I really wanted to talk about here. I guess you can say, yeah, guys, Real Madrid doing really good. Toni Kroos with that long shot, absolute screamer beauty in the last minute of the game as well. I don't really want to talk about that, guys. I don't know if we talked about this, but I just want to talk about it yet again. Man, oh man, we are so bad in the midfield, man. We do not know how to PSG, man. We do not know how to pass in the midfield. Now, once we get to the topics, the transfer stuff, I want to talk about different transfers that PSG will be able to get. I mean, man, like, what are we running here, man? Why are we? I mean, Mukiele is good, but Hakimi, we need Hakimi and Nuno Mendes, guys. These 2 players, Nuno Mendes, Hakimi, on the wing, man. These guys in offense and in defense are something different, man, for PSG. So we need them. Our midfield is absolutely mudded. I mean, hopefully, I think Verratti is injured, but hopefully we get Verratti, man. I'm such a Verratti fanboy, man. I just love Verratti, my favorite midfielder, of course. I'd say he's the best midfielder in the world. I mean, there is Modric as well. I think Modric and then Verratti for me. There's a lot of PSG bias there to put Verratti, compare Verratti to Modric there. But I think we need Verratti, Vitinha, not bad. I mean, Carlos Soler and what's his name, and Fabian Ruiz were the worst transfers ever. Man, what the heck, man? They don't do anything. The thing with, I mean, Fabian Ruiz, he was pretty good in the start of the season. Renato Sanchez as well. He is decent. At the start, he was a fraud. I mean, he's getting better now. But I think we need. It's not about the physicality. I think the thing with Renato is, yes, he's big and physical, but he's too offensive. We want a big physical player who's defensive. So I think we have to go back to a 5, maybe a 4-back formation. With I think the 5-back is good. We need Kimpembe back. He was also injured. Kimpembe, Skriniar, Marquinhos, Ramos. That would be a sick back line. That would really be sick. I wanted to see Ramos at right back. Yes, he is a bit slow, but I think it would work out. Hopefully we can sign Skriniar. We'll get there soon to the news part. We're going to talk about him. Skriniar and Marquinhos and the 2 center backs. At left back, I want to put Kimpembe. So 4 center back line. In the CDM position, I want to run Renato Sanchez, hopefully, who's more a defensive player. On the 2 left mid and right mid, I want to run Hakimi as well as Nuno Mendes. At Cam, I want to run uh, Lionel Messi, and then the two strikers, I want to put Mbappe on the left, Neymar on the right. Maybe in the CDM or more as a center mid. Maybe two center mids, a 4-4-2 with Messi and Verratti in the midfield. And then I want to see something like that because I really do think Nuno Mendes and Hakimi could really play in that midfield. Maybe Hakimi more as well. I think he's very very good in attack, his dribbling, his defense. I think Hakimi is could be a really good midfielder. I think teams should not be scared to play fullbacks in the center mid, and that's what I'm saying with Liverpool as well, man. Liverpool have to put it. Don't go out and get Jude Bellingham. Let's say if somehow they hijack Real Madrid's Jude Bellingham, I'd say yes, they do need another midfielder, but also sign a right back, play a new right back. Liverpool should play that new right back at right back, and then put Trent in the midfield, man. I think teams should start to look at that option as well. So I think Hakimi, I really want to see Hakimi in that midfield, man. Like as a PSG fan, I think that's going to be a great thing for us as well. I think he has that ability on that winger side, on that right center mid, and that right mid position. I think that would be absolutely a brilliant idea, and I don't mind Ramos at that right back. I think he's capable of doing that. I mean, back in the day when he first started, he was at right back. Um, this game as well. Did we talk about this game? I don't quite know if we. I mean, when was the last podcast? Let's just take a look. I mean, we posted this on January 13th. And then this United game was on the 14th. So we did not talk about this United game, guys. Okay, so that means we didn't talk about the PSG game either. So good thing we talked about it. Guys, United versus City. Absolute robbery for Man City. I mean, I think United were the better team. Of course, yet again, possession-wise, it doesn't say because Man City are just ball-holding rats. Not rats, but like they like to hold the ball a lot, possession-based team. But for the Rashford goal, for the Bruno goal, actually, I think it's for the Bruno Fernandes goal. There was a big debate whether that Bruno Fernandes goal should count because what happened is Casemiro, he's kind of alone on this side here, like he's kind of being covered by Rodri and Bernardo Silva and stuff. Sorry about that. My voice just got caught up, like something in my throat. And then what happened was Casemiro, he sends a through ball in to Marcus Rashford, and Rashford is onside. Now, the ball is going very, very fast. It looks like the keeper would get there first, or like Nathan Ake would get there first. Akanji, he can for sure get there first and stuff. If Rashford wasn't there, of course. But Rashford runs with the ball. He even moves his leg back. It looks like he's going to touch the ball. And then Bruno Fernandes comes sweeping the ball and scores. He goes behind, like around Ederson, and scores in the back of the net. Now, there's a lot of controversy because I personally think Rashford was offside. For sure he was offside. But now it comes like if he doesn't touch the ball still plays on. So if Rashford wasn't there, I'd 100% say Casemiro does not see that through ball to Bruno Fernandes. That is one thing. If Rashford wasn't there, even if Casemiro saw the through ball, Akanji and Nathan Ake get there 100%, and Ederson positions himself better, or he runs out earlier to the ball to get that ball against Bruno Fernandes. So those are the main factors to why that goal should have been offside. I just want to keep that in mind. Guys, I'm kind of rushing in here. I'm not going to talk about this game. Copa del Rey, of course, guys. Villarreal, they really... I don't know what it is for Real Madrid not having it against Villarreal. But Villarreal, they play really, really good against Madrid as well. I think they're a pretty underrated team. But then, guys, of course, Madrid, guys, the Madrid effect, the Madrid tactic to score in the last minutes of the game. They score 3 goals. Vinicius Jr., Eder Militao, and Dani Ceballos. So, yeah, brilliance there by Villarreal, which then leads us to a upcoming... when is this? Thursday, January 26th. So actually this Thursday. That's pretty good because I don't have school for the next week. So yeah, that's going to be really good. We have the Madrid derby in the quarterfinal of the Copa del Rey. Sorry, I'm just checking something for my football training. Okay, never mind. But yeah, should be pretty good there. I'm kind of trying to do this fast, guys. We have to talk about this game: Paris Saint-Germain versus Riyadh All Stars, Ronaldo versus Messi, last dance. Now, going back to what I said earlier in the podcast, it's kind of, I don't see the point of friendlies. I guess yes, they draw on money and views and stuff, but at the same time, I really liked seeing Messi and Ronaldo. It was a brilliant game for both the goats of of football. But at the same time, if we had lost this game, it would have been very very bad for us. At the same time, if we had won this game, what I don't like about us winning against a team like the Riyadh All Stars, Al Hilal and Al Nasser, like combined 11. The only thing I don't like about that is that it makes our players, like if we were to win as well, it makes our players look like they're better, but in fact we need to improve our players. You get what I mean? So why like if we're playing Fabian Ruiz and Carlos Soler, if we play them against a team like Riyadh All Stars and they do and PSG win, like by like let's say, yeah, if PSG were to win, we're gonna say, oh, Carlos Soler and Fabian Ruiz, extraordinary players, we should give them more playing time. When in fact, man, we're playing a friendly. The other team is not gonna play serious either. Why are we making these players look like they are better than they actually are, man? We need improvements in the midfield. Ramos, man. So let's talk about the goals, of course. Messi starting it off in 3 minutes. Of course, the GOAT, both goals scoring. And Penaldo answering back right away with a penalty. I'm just going to talk about the goals and stuff. And then the next goal was Marquinhos from a header. Yeah, Marquinhos from the header. And then 45th minute is... Man, this was the hilarious goal, man. Because what actually happened is it was crossed into to Ronaldo. Ronaldo headers it. And then it's Keylor Navas. We started Keylor Navas, I think, towards the middle. 60th minute, we subbed on. Both teams did a full 11 sub. So Donnarumma came on later. But it was Keylor Navas who gets a touch on the ball, hits the post. It rebounds back, and it goes to Ramos, who then he tries to hit it out. So he uses both feet to hit it out. He misses the ball to get it out of our area. He misses both times, and then off of the he gets the tap in. Ronaldo gets the tap. Man, Ramos, man. Ramos. And this is why we need Milan Skriniar. Yeah, and then Ramos, yet again, he comes back and replies, oh, my bad. Let me get a goal. Makes a 2-2. Or 3-2, actually. Sorry, my bad. He makes a 3-2 in the 53rd minute. Brilliant play. So what it is, it's I think it was Mbappe. He was on the left side and he crosses there, just dribbling it on the left side from a corner, I believe. And then he crosses it in with his left foot, and Ramos is there to header it in the back of the net. Same thing with this goal here. Very, very unfortunate. I don't know what we were doing, but I think it was off of a corner. And then this guy, he just goes and gets in the back of the net. A header, man. Like, what are we doing? Ramos, why are you not Donnarumma? You have the biggest hands. You're the tallest player there. As well as you have hands as well. You're going to be like 7 foot when you have your hands and being that height as well. And you can't get that ball. And very, very unlucky there. Unfortunate. But yeah. Mbappe getting the pen. Ekitike in the 78th. Anderson Talisca. Brilliant game. But at the same time, if we had lost, it would have made us look bad. But at the same time, if we had won, it's gonna make our players look better than they actually are. We need improvements, man. We really need improvements. I am trying to rush it here as it's getting a bit late. I'm just going to my training, guys. Milan Skriniar agent has announced that the defender will not renew his contract at Inter Milan. So that is a very, very good positive. He will become a free agent this summer if he is not sold this month. Where is it here? Yeah, over here. Milan Skriniar will be paid a 25 million signing bonus by PSG in the summer when he joins on a free transfer. So basically, guys, Inter Milan are asking for 15 to 20 million for Milan Skriniar for this transfer window. Currently, we are in for the January transfer window. If they do not accept that, Milan Skriniar is willing to stay on to not renew his contract with Inter Milan, and if he does not renew, PSG will give him an extra 25 million signing bonus for not renewing and sticking to his word for being a free transfer to PSG. So pretty nice there. That is pretty crazy, but I would take that, man. This guy is the captain. He's a leader. I think he's a pretty good defender. Um, yeah, it was kind of a robbery that Inter Milan were asking for, I think, 50 or 70 million back in the summer transfer window last year, and now they're only asking for 20 million. But yeah, man, we really need a new center back, and I think Milan Skriniar would be great. As I said, when we were talking about PSG earlier in that Rennes game when we lost 1-0, man, players we need to sign. I think Bruno Guimaraes, he would be a great CDM for us. I think he would be brilliant. He's a type of a good box to box, good on the ball, good defensively, physically, attackingly as well. He has that fast pace. I think Barella, Tonali, these guys are also, these are the, I wouldn't necessarily say they would they would want to come to our club. Maybe Bruno Guimaraes would be pretty sick. I think he would want to come to PSG as well. I think but these are the types of players, good physical, defensive, box to box, more defensive players like Barella, Tonali. These guys are defensive, good on the ball as well. So Renato Sanchez, yes, he's physical, he's defensive. I think he could be better. I think he's not as good as these three players I just mentioned. So hopefully one of those midfielders can come to our club. As I said, new center back, 100% needed. But that's pretty much all. I think we just need a new center back and new good box to box CDM like the three I just mentioned: Barella, Tonali, and Bruno Guimaraes. Guys, Ronald Koeman returns as head coach of Netherlands after Van Gaal gets sacked after the World Cup. So yeah, pretty good there. So recently this week there was rumors that Lionel Messi has no intention of renewing his contract at Paris Saint-Germain beyond this summer. And guys, keep in mind, this is reported source from Gerard Romero. He is a Spanish news sports reporter. Guys, the Spain guys, they just love causing rumors and stuff. Don't believe it, guys. Do not believe it. Marco Asensio agent George Mendes has started talks in Barcelona about potential free transfer this summer. The Rats, guys, the Rats, like Luis Figo. Barcelona to Madrid, now Madrid to Barcelona. I mean, we've seen this before, but Declan Rice is leaning towards joining Arsenal in the summer, with Chelsea and Man United also expected to compete with West Ham midfielder. Pretty interesting. I think this would be huge for Arsenal. A new CDM. I mean, Xhaka, I think he has to say. Thomas Partey, he's really good as well, but they're all getting, I think, more. Thomas Partey is getting older. He's like 30 years old, I think. So I'm getting a 24-year-old English CDM who's actually pretty solid as well. I think Declan Rice would really fit. I think him going to United, I think he would really impact both United. I don't know about Chelsea, but I think he would be a huge transfer for both Arsenal and United. So I think like if he was to go to PSG, if he was to go to Real Madrid, he wouldn't be as big as of a player, as big as an impact player as he would be if he went to United and Arsenal, because I think United really need a good defensive oriented midfielder, and same with Arsenal. I think they would really appreciate a new replacement for Thomas Partey. Let's just skip that. Yeah, as I said, guys, Wolves, yes, they need a new center mid. So I think yes, it looks like Wolves have rejected this, but talking about center mids, yes, I think Wolves need a new center mid, or Liverpool need a new center mid. But on top of that, if they can't get a center mid in the summer, get a right back instead, or in the winter, get a right back and play Trent. I think Trent in the center mid would be great. As I said, like Hakimi at center mid would also be great. Newcastle have held talks about a January move for Scott McTominay, guys. As I said, Newcastle, the 500 billion or 200 billion, 250 billion euros that they have, the oil money from Saudi Arabia. They have made great. They've made many signings, but at the same time, they have, for those many signings they haven't spent as much as Chelsea have made. You get what I mean? And they're still playing really good. Like if we take a look here, Newcastle, they are, I think they're third in the league. So that is pretty crazy. For having that much money, not even spending a lot of money compared to Chelsea at, what are they, at 10th place, and they're in the third. That is pretty crazy. So I think Scott McTominay and Bruno Guimaraes would be pretty sick. I really wouldn't. I really would like to see that. I really like watching Newcastle. Honestly, Newcastle, they look like a pretty good team. Same with Man United. As I said, Man United played good, and I literally said this after the World Cup ended. The first game back, I said if United sign good players like Weghorst, they recently signed Weghorst. I think he's a good striker as well, a good finisher. If they sign those players and play like how they did on the first game, which they are, after that, Where a month later, they're playing how they did after that first game. I said they're gonna do good, and man, they're back on track, man. I'm just a genius. Guys, quickly before we end off the episode, I'm really in a rush here because my training will start in like 20-30 minutes. So, my bad. But yeah, Mbappe, yeah, EA Sports, EA, these money scammers, guys. Yes, they have these Team of the Year ratings. It's mainly for money. There's no Rudiger, Alaba somehow. But I do want to mention, yeah, Mbappe, somehow Ballon d'Or winner Karim Benzema is not a higher or even the same rating as Lionel Messi. I think, in my opinion, Lionel Messi and Benzema should have deserved a 99 rated card. And I think actually Mbappe should have deserved a 98 rated card. And the reason I say Mbappe should have deserved a 98 rated card is because I think Benzema was better than Mbappe. But at the same time, Mbappe was better than this rating it shows here, which is the same as Benzema. So for that reason, I think Messi and Benzema, Messi winning the World Cup, he was one of the best he was one of the best creators last year. Benzema winning the Ballon d'Or, the extraordinary carry he had with Madrid in the Champions League. And then, yeah, Mbappe, I think this was one of his best seasons, if not his best season of his career so far. That hat-trick in the World Cup final. He had the most goals the whole year. In the 2023 year, he had the most goals with 56 goals. The most goals to game ratio or something like that. Mbappe should have, this was his best year. In 2021, he got a 97 overall. Last year, he got yet another 97. I think in 2020, FIFA 22. In FIFA 23, he should have gotten a 98 because I think in the year 2022 was his best overall career, best year for sure. And for that reason, I think a 98. But then at the same time, Benzema was better than Mbappe. So if Mbappe was to deserve a 98, in my opinion, Benzema and Messi at 99. Guys, over here, it's really a huge scam. Somehow, Jude Bellingham has got into the Team of the Year over Federico Valverde. And I think Federico Valverde, last year in the Champions League and stuff, he had a bigger impact with Madrid and stuff. I do see, I guess Jude Bellingham, nation-wise, he did pretty good, especially in the World Cup and stuff. And he was a solid player. But I think Valverde was still a better player, man. And somehow, Jude Bellingham has got in. I think he's the youngest player ever to have a Team of the Year. But where I see there being a scam is De Bruyne being a higher rating than 37-year-old baller, a magician, Luka Modric, guys. Somehow KDB is overrated, it's a higher rating than Modric. I think they should both be 96 rated, not 97, 96 rated. I think both of them deserve a 96 rated, or both of them a 97 rated. Now, the reason I don't want to say Modric higher rating than Kevin De Bruyne is because, in my opinion, I really do think Kevin De Bruyne is a underrated player. I really do think. And the reason why I want to say underrated is because people just say, oh, he plays for Man City, an oil club. I guess, yeah, that is one part. You can say, that's why, who cares? It's just Kevin De Bruyne. But I think the reason why he's rated this high, according to EA Sports, yes, they are a scam, but I think another reason is because this guy is one of the most, if not the most consistent midfielder. He is so consistent. You don't see a match where he does it so bad, and you don't see a match where he does so good. He's always there. He's always a key midfielder for Man City. So that is why I think people shouldn't stop hating on him. I think people should hate on how Modric was the best midfielder last season. But I think he should be tied with Kevin De Bruyne. I think Kevin De Bruyne should be up there with the same as Modric, because the thing with KDB is, yes, he didn't do good with Belgium. He lost to Man City as well, or he lost to Real Madrid, I mean. So Modric was a better player. If Real Madrid didn't have Modric last season, no ways they won that UCL. So I think maybe the ratings could switch. But I could see at least KDB and Modric having the same rating. And as I said, Modric such a consistent player. So I wanted to talk about Kevin De Bruyne. He plays for City, a bit of hates there, but at the same time, he's one of the most, if not the best, consistent midfielder, consistent player. He's always so consistent. His passing on point, defending. He's not the best defender, but it's on point. Dribbling, his shooting, all of them, his physicality, all on point, always consistent every single match after match after match. I just wanted to point that out. So Yeah, definitely the same rating. Guys, that's going to end off the podcast. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that bell. Next podcast might be on Friday or maybe next Monday or Sunday because I do not have school for the next week as it is the end of this first semester. So we have a week off. So yeah, maybe I'll do a bit of a stream as well for Team of the Year. Keep in mind, I did a stream earlier this year as well. But yeah, for now, guys, I'm in a bit of a rush, a very much rush. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that bell. Keep a lookout on my Instagram, both my personal and the podcast Instagram, both links down below for when the next podcast will be. But yeah, for now, stay positive, stay flow, and I'll see you later. Peace.